Alright, so if you were ever wondering how you can make save slots for, like, for example, if you wanted a slot 1 with this character's data, a slot 2 with this character's data, and a slot 3, then this is the video for you. So let's just hop right into it. But before we actually get into that, there's a couple things you're gonna need. You're gonna need a profile service, which if you don't know about that, I'll link a video on how to set it up. And if you don't already have like a profile service set up, I'm gonna link the video, watch this video, and you'll basically get to the point that I'm at right here. So like click off this video, pause it, put it to the side, go down in the description and hit the little link and watch the video on how to set it up. The first thing what you want to do is you want to go ahead and make yourself a screen GUI, and just so this can be easier, I'm gonna put this in device mode. You do that by going to test at the top, hit device, and you can change it. So I'm gonna just name this screen GUI. I'm just gonna name it selection, right? I'm just gonna name it selection. So I'm gonna just name it characters, right? Characters with an S. Then I'm gonna insert a frame, and I'm just gonna speed this part up. This is all like up to you how you want your GUI to be, but I'm gonna get back to you guys once I've actually created a GUI. You see we got slot 1, slot 2. It's obviously just made this in like 5 minutes, but next thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and find replicated first up here, create a local script, and we want to call this script selection handler. Selection handler, and we want to clone this GUI into selection handler pretty much. Then at the top we want to just define slot GUI. You can literally call it whatever, but we're gonna say this is equal to script dot characters, or I think I'm gonna just name this slots just to make it like the same thing. So then you want to say slot GUI, or hold on, we're gonna say local current GUI is slot GUI, and we're gonna clone, and slot GUI dot or current GUI dot parent, and we're gonna set this to and actually player we're gonna set player to the local player, and we're gonna parent this to player, and we're gonna say wait for child player GUI, and this should basically like clone this and then set it to the player GUI. And you see right here, there's nothing here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and hit play, just test this out, see if it's actually gonna clone, and boom, it cloned, right? Alright, so and for the GUI, if you wanted to like go to the top of the screen, just ignore GUI. And what I'm gonna do actually, just to make it like a true what is this, like a true, actually no, we're not gonna do that because that's gonna lead to more complication. So we're gonna say current GUI, and we're gonna go down the hierarchy list, and we're basically gonna find slot 1 and slot 2. So we're gonna say current GUI dot container, and we're gonna say slot 1 dot select, and we're gonna say activated, and we're gonna connect this to a function, and we can just say print selected slot 1, and we're gonna do the exact same thing but for slot 2. So just for time, we can just say slot 2, and we're gonna say selected slot 2, so like this. So basically this is gonna print every time we click one of these buttons, but instead of going to test every time we change something, we can just say, we can go to replicated storage, and I'm gonna make a remote right here, and we're gonna name this remote events, and we're gonna name this, let's see, we're gonna say spawn, right? Or we're gonna say slot manager or slot. Matter of fact, we're just gonna name it slot, right? So then we're gonna go back into this script, and we're gonna say at the top, we're gonna repeat waits until, and we're gonna just add like a 2-second wait, or like a 2-second wait, and we're gonna repeat wait until we find basically the remote, the slots remote, pretty much. So this code down here is not gonna run until this slots remote is created. Basically, what this does is it stops like for like in testing in studio, like basically the character in the actual server starts like almost at the same time, so it might not give everything in the game a chance to load. So this is what this pretty much does. It just waits until that's fully loaded. And then I'm just take this out of device view. And then what we go ahead and do is we're gonna say we can go ahead and define this. So our slot remote, and we're gonna set this to this remotes.slot. And we're gonna say let's see, we can say slot remote fire server, and the event is going to be slot 1. And then we're going to do the exact same thing down here, and we're going to set the event to slot 2. And once you've done this, go ahead and make yourself a server script if you don't already have one. If you already have one, then you can just go ahead and go into this. And I forgot to actually define the data manager, so we're just going to do that. And data manager, and we're going to say data manager. And if you already, like, basically if you've already called this function, don't do this because this is just going to break your entire database. But because I didn't actually set it up yet. But what you want to go ahead and do is grab this slot remote from up here. We can just go ahead and paste it into this. I think just to help like with clarity, I'm just going to delete this stuff up here just so you can actually see what we're working with. Delete that. All right, boom. So we're gonna say slot remote on server events, and we're gonna pass our player first, and then we're gonna say args or data, whatever you want to say. If we're gonna say if args dot event is equal to, let's see, we're gonna say slot 1, I think is what we said, right? Yeah, slot 1. Then we're gonna set our player's attribute to slot 1 with the underscore next to it. And then we're gonna say if args.event is equal to slot 2. Then we're basically gonna set our player's attribute. Oh, actually, hold on. Not this. So my bad. You wanna set it like this. You wanna say slot, and then you wanna set it to slot underscore 1, or whatever your key, basically whatever you want your data store key to be. I'm just gonna call mine slot 1, and then we're gonna set this to slot underscore 2, right? Like so. And just for like testing, we can go ahead, hop in here. Oh, and I didn't actually give this like place, what is this? Data store access, so I'll go ahead and do that after this. But if we go here and you see our current slot is slot 1 and it's slot 2 now, and this is all being changed on the server. So we're heading in the good direction right here. But I have to actually go up here and publish this really quick. Then what you want to do is hop into your data manager, and if you watch the video, your profile service or your data manager be set up something similar to this. So you pretty much what you want to do is you want to say repeat waits until player get attributes, let's say slots is not equal to nil, or player get attribute slot, and we're gonna say if it's just not, or if it just exists, right? Or player get attribute slots. Okay, so that should be good. And then we can just go ahead and set a print down here and say loaded with slots, and then we can say player get attribute slot, right? And this is just for testing, so it's not actually complete. And what you want to do here is you want to just say we can just say current GUI destroy, and you would do the same thing under this one. So we can go ahead and hit play, give it a little test and see. All right, and it says loaded with slot slot underscore 1. So that's pretty much our data key pretty much. So what you want to do now is you want to copy this little attribute, get attribute slot, and you simply want to put this in front of your profile, load profile async. But you don't want to change this player user ID. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to print, or it's going to set like your slot key. So like it's going to say slot underscore let's say 1, and it's gonna basically concatenate it to your user ID. So if I were to print like my user ID, for example, if my user ID was 1234 like this, I'm gonna just put it here so it's easier to see. So this would basically print like this. If I were to actually print it, this is how it would print: 1234, right? So yeah. And actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually in here I'm gonna add another underscore just so you can actually see it. Boom. With slot, and we can just say slot key, and this is gonna actually load our character with this key right here. And just for testing, I'm gonna go ahead and set myself to level 1000 on like, so like basically when we load in, I'm gonna be a level 1000, and I'm gonna change that after. So right here, right on slot 1, my level is 1000, right? And then I'm just gonna set our template back to 0. I'm gonna just set this back to 0. Hit play. And if I select slot 2, my level is 0, right? But let's say you say I didn't change anything, but if I go back and like stop the game and start it back up again, right? If I select slot 1 again, I'm level 1000, like so. Now, a few things to be aware of. Say if like inside of this script, if you change this like these keys, like any data that's saved to this key is gonna be lost. So like you should set this in stone, set it in stone, have it set to what you want it to be, and don't change it, because if you change this, all that data on that slot is gone. But that's pretty much it for this tutorial. It's that simple.